All right, welcome back to Mr. P Helps with Precal. This is Unit 2, Topic 2, Lesson number 4. We're going to be solving exponentials and logarithmic equations by substituting. So this question, we've done these before. This is condensing down, so we need to condense this down to 1 log. So that's going to be natural log of x over 3, because whenever it's subtraction, quotient rule, you're going to divide these two x values right here. Equals 4, then you're going to exponentiate e to the power of, because that's the inverse of natural log. So these cancel out because log base e of e is 1, that's itself. So they're left with x over 3 equals e to the 4th. Multiply both sides by 3, and you've got your answer. X equals 3 times e to the 4th. This one over here, I'm going to divide by 2 first, and that gives me natural log of 3x equals 2. And then exponentiates using base e. These cancel out. 3x equals e squared, and then divide by 3, and there's your answer. E squared over 3. This one, so this one's an exponential, so I'm going to do the inverse of that, which is logarithmic, and I'm going to do log base 5 of both sides. And that cancels out. Leaves me with x plus 2 equals log base 5 of 4. And then last but not least, I would subtract 2 from both sides. So x is log base 5 of 4 minus 2. This one, got to condense it down to log base 7 of 3x. Now that both sides have log base 7, we can exponentiate to 7. That cancels here and here, so 3x equals 32. Divide by 3 on both sides, and you get 32 thirds. Okay, so now in this video, like I said before, I'm going to solve by substituting. And the reason why I'm going to substitute is because there is no property for adding exponentials with the same base. If it was multiplication, then we could add the exponents. But since it's addition, we have no property for combining these two, so we need some other way of doing this. So I'm going to replace e to the x with the variable a. And what that's going to do is going to make it so that I can factor it, because e to the 2x is really e to the 2 times x, which is the same as e to the x times 2. And if e to the x is a, then it's really a squared. This is really a squared plus a minus 6 equals 0. Now, I say it really is. What I mean is, if I substitute e to the x with a, that's what it becomes. Then I can factor this. I got a plus 3 times a minus 2. And then that tells me, using zero product property, that a can be negative 3 or positive 2. Now, I haven't found my answer yet. I've just figured out what e to the x can be. So these are the two answers for e to the x. So I'm going to replace a back with e to the x. And then I can solve. And the inverse of e to the x will be natural log of both sides. So x can be natural log of negative 3 or natural log of 2. Now, this doesn't make any sense because you can never have any base raised to any power ever equal a negative. So this is actually extraneous, and this is the real solution. All right, so all these questions are going to do the exact same steps that we've done. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 3. So that gives me 2 to the 2x minus 2 to the x equals 12. Then I'm going to set my equation equal to 0. And then I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to change 2 to the x with a. And you can use any letter that you want. So I'm going to say a squared minus a minus 12 equals 0. So that gives me a minus 4 and a plus 3. So that means a can be 4 or negative 3. Now, when I replace it back with 2 to the x, then log base 2 on both sides, and log base 2 of 4 is 2. So that's one real answer. And over here, so we have log base 2 of this, log base 2 of negative 3. This cancels, so that tells me that x can be log base 2 of negative 3. Now, that doesn't make any sense. That's extraneous because it can never be a negative of. All right, so over here, so I'm going to change e to the x to a. So that would be 2a squared plus 5a minus 3 equals 0. Move myself out of the way. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. The two numbers that give you negative 6 and add up to 5 would be a plus 6 times a minus 1. equals 0. But don't forget there was a leading coefficient. Got to divide both of those by 2. So a plus 6 over 2 is really a plus 3. And this becomes a minus 1/2. Okay, so that means a is negative 3 and a is 1/2. All right, so last step, replace e to the x back in. E to the x equals negative 3. E to the x equals 1/2. So natural log of both sides, and this is extraneous. Natural log of both sides here. X can be natural log of 1/2. There's your one real solution. All right, 2 more problems, and that'll be it. So for this question, I'm going to change 4 to the x equals a. So that would be a squared minus a minus 12. Factor it, gives you these 2 factors. And then you've got 4 and negative 3 as your 2 solutions. And then replace 4 to the x equals 4. So here x can be 1 because log base 4 of 4. And over here we have 4 to the x equals negative 3. Do log base 4 of both sides here so that x equals log base 4 of negative 3. But that's going to be extraneous. Log base 4 of negative 3 is extraneous. So that's not a real solution. All right, last one. So I'm going to change 5 to the x equals a. So that becomes a squared plus a minus 30 equals 0. I moved the 30 to the other side. So that's a plus 6 times a minus 5 equals 0. So that means a can be negative 6, a can be 5, and I plug back in 5 to the x equals negative 6. Log base 5 of both sides, x is log base 5 of negative 6 is extraneous. That's not a real solution. Over here we have 5 to the x equals 5. Do log base 5 of both sides, x is 1 real solution. All right, 1 real solution, and the number is 1. All right, thanks again for watching, and look forward to the next video. Please drop a question in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.